Hi, this is Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online.net, and welcome to part 2 of a video series I'm doing on the Travis picking pattern. The Travis picking pattern is arguably the most common finger picking pattern of all. It can be found in literally thousands and thousands of songs and is an essential pattern to learn if you're a finger picker. The Travis picking pattern, however, can vary from one tune to another, and while there certainly are common elements that do not change, making the Travis picking pattern what it is, there are parts that do vary. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to run you through some of the common variations of the Travis picking pattern so you can train this approach into your playing, not just learn one instance of the pattern, as well as easily identify when it's being used in a song. So let's get into it. Okay, so let me take you through a couple of common Travis picking patterns that can get you started here. We've looked at the bass with the thumb. We've looked at some exercises that are very effective in developing the independency between the thumb and the bass. Now let me show you a couple of patterns that can get you going with this particular finger picking approach. So I'm going to use a G chord and I'm going to use a 6/4 bass. Okay, and I'm going to run you through a few patterns here. I'm going to start with one that's just playing notes singly, because you're going to see we're going to do some pinching and playing notes together within the pattern shortly as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the pattern, and then every other bar I'm going to just play the bass, and then I'm going to come in with the pattern again. The bass is part of the pattern, but I'm going to leave the higher notes out every other bar. So the idea here is that it's easier to play the pattern once and then have a break before playing it again, before you put it back to back to back. And it helps you realize that the bass is a separate part and that it's actually doing the same thing the whole time, whether your fingers are playing or not. Helps emphasize that. Let me give you the first pattern here so you can see what I mean. This first pattern is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have a break. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's happening here is the bass again is 6/4. That doesn't change. But around it, I've got my index playing the open third string on the end of 2. Then I've got the middle finger playing the second string on the end of 3. And that's it. And around that, it's just the bass. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me give you another pattern, single notes again, that's similar, but a little different, because you can do anything here. As long as the bass continues playing, you can do what you like as far as the patterns are concerned. Of course, if it's a certain song you're learning, you'll do what the song says, most likely. But if you're just using the Travis picking pattern in any other sort of way, improvising with it or whatever, then you can do what you like as long as the thumb stays on the beat. So this next pattern is going to go like this. Still on G, 6/4 bass. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So here it's slightly different because I'm playing on the end of 1, the end of 2, and the end of 3. And then it's just a bar break again with the thumb playing the bass. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 2 different patterns there to play around with to get the whole thing going. Another way that we can do this, or another thing that we can bring in, is playing notes together. An example here, G chord, 6/4 bass. I'll be using that throughout for the examples here. This one will go 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, and then our break. 3, 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm doing here is the bass is ticking along as always on the beat. When I play on the 2 with my thumb for the bass, my index and middle also pluck the second and third strings of the chord. So it's 1, 2, and then I go back down to my bass on 6, and then bass on 4. Bass on 6, and then before I go to bass on 4, I'm plucking up with the same 2 strings of the chord with my index and middle fingers again. And then down on the 4th string on the 4th beat of the bar. So together, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I put a break in there. 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, So that's an example of bringing in notes together, because that happens often with this pattern. The other thing which is very similar is a pinch. Okay, now a pinch I define as your thumb playing and one of the finger picking fingers plays a string, and it's like a pinch that you get as a result. So this one's going to pinch on the second beat. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3. We'll go 4 and 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. So it's similar to one of the earlier patterns, but we're pinching on 2, and I'll put the bass, just the isolated bass, in between here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2. So again, the bar of bass is just so it emphasizes that it's its own part and that it's constant and it's continuing whether you're playing with the fingers or not. And it also helps you just hear the beginning and the end, the cycle of the pattern. And then you can put any of those patterns back to back, you know, bar after bar, consecutive bars. But the idea is that you're going to find that it's not really a pattern here, it's an approach. We might be more accurate in saying the Travis picking approach, because the patterns vary, but the approach is the same, the approach being that the thumb is playing on the beat. Okay, so you want to get to a point where you can make it up as you go. So I don't know what I'm going to do here until I do it, but I know the bass is going to be constant. That's not going to change. But around it, I can pick any sort of strings on top. Okay, that's the stage you want to get to. And of course, so you can mix and match the patterns that I've just shown you. That'd be a good way to start. Also, as you get more comfortable, the 6/4, or if you're on a C chord, the 5/4/5/4 or a root 5 chord, they're going to be the easier patterns. So if I'm on a C chord, same sort of thing, but now I'm playing a 5/4 pattern. Okay, so you can practice these on root 5 chords, of course, any chord. Then you can bring in the varied bass pattern. So if I'm on this G chord again, I could play my 6/4/5/4 bass. Right? 6/4/5/4, 6/4/5/4. Okay, so you can bring in all those things. So, I don't have enough time here to take you through all possible combinations, but you don't need to go through all possible combinations. You need some to get under your fingers, you need to mix them together, and then once you can start to tick it over and not have to think about it, you've got it. Okay, so before we finish up here, let's just have a look at a couple of examples of taking some of the patterns I just ran you through and applying them to a chord progression, because that would be the next natural step. Once you've applied any of the patterns or a variety of them to a single isolated chord like the G that we did, you can then of course apply it to a full chord progression. So I'm going to run you through a progression here. It's going to be, let's see, a C, an E7 chord. I'm going to play an A minor with a G in the bass, to an F, to a G, to a C, back to the G. Okay, it's going to be our chord progression. And I'm going to take the first pattern I showed you, and I think that was, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you could take any of the patterns and apply it throughout the whole progression. So same pattern each bar, just adapted for the chord that you're on. And I'll go with the simpler bass pattern for each chord, being the 5/4/5/4 for the root 5 chords and 6/4/6/4 for the root 6 chords. So if I apply that to my chord progression here, that pattern, this is how it sounds. F, G, C, G. Okay, so there's an example of taking one of the patterns and applying it to a chord progression. It could be any chord progression. That's just one example. Let me show you one more time with a different chord progression. This time we'll play a little bit of a kind of 8-bar blues type thing. I'm going to play an E7 for 2 bars, an A7, back to the E7, and we'll come with a B7, A7, E7. maybe we'll go back to a B7 in the 8th bar there. Something like that. I'll keep with the simpler bass pattern, but you can of course put in the other bass pattern if you like as you get used to this. I'll just keep it simple for now. And let's go with the note together pattern that I did before. I think that was going, yeah, that was it there. Okay, so let me apply this to our little 8-bar blues in E here. Okay, so it goes 2 bars of E, 7, A7, and back to E, B7, A7, E7, and B7. And again, E7, 2 bars, A7, E7, B7, A7, E7, and B7. Okay, so that's the next natural step, is to apply any of the patterns or combinations of patterns to an actual chord progression. If you would like further help with your finger picking, the kind of help that gets you results in the most direct, efficient, and fun way possible, then check out the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course. I've carefully designed this course to do all the heavy lifting for you as far as knowing exactly what to do, how to do it, and when to do it in regard to mastering the art of fingerpicking guitar. All you have to do is follow the pathway I've laid out for you. In the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course, you will learn and master all the key concepts, methods, strategies, and techniques needed for fingerpicking, so you'll never put your guitar down in frustration again thinking, how the hell do I do this? You will also discover the exact order in which to do things, avoiding the all too common mistakes most people make when learning to fingerpick guitar. This will save you precious time and frustration. Have your hand held every step of the way with the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course. It will take you from wherever you are right now with your fingerpicking to where you would love to be, enjoying every part of the process along the way. So click the link below in the description of this video and check out the Ultimate Fingerpicking Guitar course. Let me know in the comments section what other guitar topics you would like to see covered in future videos. It's always great to hear what you've got to say. If you liked this video, then hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I next release a video. This is Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online, and as always, thank you for your time and for watching this video, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.